If you have activated that wildcard chip ahead of game week 35, don't worry, I've got you covered with the ultimate guide in today's video. Before we go and take a look at the team, I think it's important if you are on a wildcard this week to know which teams and which fixtures you should be looking to target up until the end of the season. Now, with this wildcard, what I've done is targeted teams that double in 35 and double in 37, especially if you've still got that bench boost chip left as well. This bench is ridiculously strong. It's also going to have a lot of players that double in 37 to give you the ultimate bench boost going into the second to final week of the season. There we go, nearly cut myself out. The second to final week of the season, give you that, hopefully huge rank boost, finish really nicely into game week 38 as well. So some teams for me that I think you should be looking to target, obviously Chelsea and Tottenham, both have double game weeks. Yes, the Tottenham one in 35 isn't the best, but it's still an extra 2 fixtures you're going to be getting on the calendar as well. You never know what can happen. You never know when one of these players could potentially score in one of these games as well. So always worth considering having these 2 teams in your wild card. Other teams I would be looking to target: Manchester City, lot on the line for them, no European football anymore, pretty good fixtures outside of the double game week 37, and then on top of that, a double in game week 37 as well. And then I think realistically, other teams you should be looking at: Manchester United, strong fixtures for them, Newcastle as well, very, very good fixtures. Arguably they have the best fixtures ending the season. Sheffield United in 35, Burnley in 36, a double of Brighton and Manchester United, and then Brentford on the final day. They still could finish in European places as well, so plenty to play for, plenty of high quality assets as well from their side. So definitely a team I think you should be looking for the triple, not even the double, the triple up of Newcastle assets on the wildcard. But that's enough waffle about fixtures. Let's go and take a look at today's team. Wasting no time and diving straight into the goalkeeper position, we're going to go with the double up of Petrovic and Onana. Both of these goalkeepers got really good fixtures up until the end of the season. Both double in 37 as well. So if you do have that bench boost left, that is going to be absolutely immense for you. We're starting Petrovic this week. Obviously the double for Chelsea in game week 35, Aston Villa and Tottenham. I'm not too confident about Chelsea's clean sheet ability. They've only managed to keep 1 clean sheet at home. Before the last game, it was December 16th. December the 16th was the last time they managed to keep a clean sheet at home before that. So I'm not too confident on their defensive abilities, but like I said, with all the doubles coming up, and I'm not overly keen on their attacking players, I think going for Petrovic and Onana really does make sense for me, especially if you've got that bench boost chip still kicking about as well for game week 37. Now moving into our backline, we're going to start off with Fabian Schär. Like I analysed earlier in the video, I said Newcastle's fixtures were exceptional, and I'm standing by that. Sheffield United, Burnley, then the double as well in 37 with Brighton and Manchester United, and then Brentford on the final day. Now, Newcastle, they haven't been the best defensive side over the past few weeks. Probably got a little bit fortunate that they've got some clean sheets. But I think with these fixtures, you would hope that, there would be some defensive resiliency. And Fabian Schär isn't afraid of popping up with a goal or an assist as well. It wouldn't be a regular feature, but he's very capable of doing that as well. So I think he's a very, very handy pick to go for in that back line. Moving on to our next defender, it is going to be Gusto. Like I said, I'm not too keen on the Chelsea attackers. Obviously, we're going to have Cole Palmer. He's in the midfield. But other than that, Nicholas Jackson, Mudryk, none of these other players kind of scream quality to me that I would, worth kind of having a punt on. I think Gusto has the potential to pick up attacking returns. If Chelsea can manage to pick up some clean sheets during some of these fixtures, it would be a miracle. But, weirder things have happened. And I think, like I said, he is capable of picking up attacking returns. There might be some clean sheets along the way, and I just prefer going for him over the likes of Jackson, Mudryk, Sterling, all these other players for me, they're not worth investing in. I think Gusto and Petrovic and Palmer are going to be the 3 Chelsea players you want to go for. Moving on to our final defender, and it is going to be Ped Porro. Now, this one does come with a little bit of a warning. He is currently flagged in the game. Obviously, just wait and see what Postecoglou has to say ahead of game week 35. Make sure that he's fully fit. Obviously, the news broke that Adoji is out for the remainder of the season. He's having surgery, so he's not even an option at all. In terms of Spurs defensively, they are not a team to be relied on. They're right down the bottom in terms of the kind of top, I think, the bottom, like 13 teams, like below 13th for XG conceded. So not a defence I would be overly confident of keeping clean sheets. Some very difficult fixtures coming up. I know they do have the doubles, but they have to play Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester City. Realistically, the games you would be hoping for a clean sheet would be Burnley and Sheffield United, but with Pedro Porro, he does have a high capability of picking up attacking returns. We all know what this man is capable of. When he is in form, he is a deadly asset in the game, and one player I think you need to be considering on your game week 35 wildcard. Moving into the midfield, we're going to start off with Anthony Gordon, one of the best players at home throughout the course of this season in terms of point scoring, one of the best enablers, one of the best budget picks so far this season, well, throughout the course of the season as well. Like I spoke with Fabian Scher, some absolutely immense fixtures as well, a double coming up, and Anthony Gordon has been cooking in game week 33. Yet to play in game week 34, they do take on Crystal Palace, so just make sure he sees through that one. But like I said, I'm very bullish on him. I've got him on my own team. I'm very, very happy with him. I had him for the haul, and I'm expecting more, you know, kind of leading up to the summer with the Euros in mind as well. If he puts in a strong end to the season, picks up more goals, more assists, I definitely think he could be on the plane to Germany, part of Gareth Southgate's squad. So I do think that will be in the back of his mind, you know, put in a really, really strong performance. Newcastle could still get European football as well. So again, all these factors are going to be in the back of the mind of this squad. They've still got a lot to play for. I think that's a big factor when looking for certain players come the end of the season. What are certain players going to be playing for? If it's maybe nothing, then you might see a little bit of a drop in performance. But everyone realistically that I've selected for this team still has a lot to play for, still has a lot to prove as well, especially with the Euros coming up in the summer, and Anthony Gordon is one of those players. Moving on to our next man who has to be essential, it is going to be Cole Palmer, realistically going to be your captain as well for game week 35. He is immense. He is leading the way over the past 5 game weeks for points scored amongst all players, despite Chelsea not even featuring this weekend. So, you know, that kind of says the level he's been at. Obviously, there was the impressive performance last week in game week 33 as well, which blowed everybody away against Everton in that 6-0 drubbing. On penalties as well, he is the clear #1 penalty taker for that side. Good fixtures as well from an attacking perspective, Aston Villa and Tottenham. Aston Villa over the past 5 game weeks have been really, really down there in terms of XG conceded. So definitely a defence I think that does look a little bit wobbly. They've still got European football as well continuing, so might see some rotation risk in their kind of back line. And I think, you know, not Andy Gordon, sorry, Cole Palmer could definitely deliver in this game week and up until the end of the season. Like I said, he for me is essential. Moving on to our next midfielder, is a player who's not been doing overly well over the past few weeks. It is Son. He's not been great, has he? I feel if he didn't have these 2 double game weeks coming up, a lot of us would be looking to flog him because the performances haven't really been there. But Son is a player that is very much capable of something special. And like I said, very similar with Pedro Porro, the amount of fixtures that Spurs have, it's definitely worth considering a player like this that can explode at times. He does offer himself up as a captaincy option in game week 35 and potentially in game week 37 as well. They've got Burnley and Manchester City. Son does have an impressive record against the Sky Blues as well. So something maybe to consider a little bit further down the line. Spurs still do have top 4, even European football still to play for as well. So a lot on the line for them come the end of the season. So Son will want to deliver, very similar to, like I said, with Anthony Gordon and all the other players involved in this squad. Moving on to our next midfielder, it is going to be KDB. Originally, I did have Bruno Fernandes. He's been one of the top 5 performers over the past 5 game weeks for points scored amongst all players in the game. But I've gone with KDB. You know, his FA Cup performance wasn't overly special. It wasn't anything kind of, wasn't like, you know, deserved any kind of accolades. Maybe unless you're Jermaine Genius. He thought, you know, he had a great game and did something completely different. But I think with City now out with European football, the full focus is going to be on the Premier League. And I can't see KDB being dropped out of any of these games. Maybe in the double game week, might see a slight bit of rotation, maybe some early substitutions. But with City now fully locked on the Premier League, I feel people like KDB, Foden are going to be playing the majority of the minutes. I think it is a tough call between KDB and Foden. Which one do you want to go for? Both have been exceptional at times this season. Both have the capability to go and get those mega scores as well. For me personally, I'm leaning slightly more towards KDB. I think he offers that little bit more in terms of captaincy as well as an option in game week 37. But, you know, it is down to you. Which way are you going, Foden or KDB? Let me know in the comment section. I've gone KDB, but I could very easily see why you could be swayed with Phil Foden. Moving on to our final midfielder, it is going to be Garnacho. He's been absolutely terrific this season for Manchester United. Some very positive fixtures coming up. Burnley, Crystal Palace, the double as well, and then Brighton on the final day. So a very, very good set of fixtures as well. His dirt bottom price as well is allowing us to get some top quality talent into this side as well. So very, very happy to have him in the starting 11. Moving into our front line, of course, at the moment, we're going to have Erling Haaland. Now, the rumours are circulating that he is going to miss this midweek match for Manchester City. Whether or not he's going to be available for game week 35 is a different question. We're going to have to wait and see what happens in that game on Thursday between Manchester City and Brighton. Then we're going to have to wait and see, you know, what Pep says in his press conferences as well ahead of the weekend. Will Haaland be playing? Will Haaland not be playing? You think maybe if it's just one game, you potentially could go without him. Maybe look to bring him in next week. Or do you just maybe stick him on the bench this week? It's a big, big ask. We're going to have to wait and see what the severity of this injury is as well. But with the positive fixtures, double game week, them chasing down the Premier League title as well, I do feel Haaland, if he is fit and available, should be a player that should be on everybody's wildcard in 35. If he's not fit and available, let's wait and see what we're going to do with Erling Haaland. Moving on to my final forward, and again, I feel like this one is an absolute essential. It is going to be Isak. He has been cooking, very similar to Bruno Fernandes, who we mentioned earlier, and Cole Palmer, has been up there amongst the top 5 scoring players over the past 5 game weeks. Sheffield United in game week 35. Absolute corker of a fixture. My only concern with him is obviously Callum Wilson is now back in training, so that is just one maybe to consider. There might be a little bit of rotation, but I think with Alexander Isak chasing down that golden boot, I can't see, you know, Eddie Howe starting Wilson over him. Maybe they'll go up to the 2 up top, or maybe he'll push Isak out wide. With the severity of the injury list as well that Newcastle have, I very much could see that being a potential option. But I still think he is a really, really good pick for game week 35 wildcard. Moving quickly onto our bench before we wrap up today's video, we spoke about Onana. João Pedro's in here, again, a very cheap enabler. In terms of forwards that double in game week 37, there aren't too many if you are on the bench boost, especially outside of Haaland and Isak. Maybe if Haaland's injured, Julian Alvarez might be a potential option, but we've gone with João Pedro, 5.2 million for him, and on penalties as well. Brighton's double, it's okay. It's not anything special, but it's all right. It's a double game week, and if he's going to be one of your bench boost players, why not go for it? We've also got Ruben Diaz in here. We're going to go for the City kind of triple up, obviously with them out of European football, and now obviously fully focused on the Premier League and a double in 37. It makes sense to have a City defender, And then finally, Van Heck is our final one. Again, hiccups. He is going to be our final cheap defender on the bench. Again, a double if you are looking for a bench boosting player. That was my game week 35 wildcard. Let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below. If you've got any questions about your team as well, get them in the comments. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck this game week.